All right, so this week we're gonna build a shelf right here. So what we have going on is the last mini road trip we installed this shelf, and then the road trip before that we installed that one. So if we wanted to buy that one again and put it here, I don't know if the price has just gone up a bunch or what, but it's like 60 bucks. So we were like, and that one right there wouldn't quite do everything that we want this shelf to do anyways. So one of the things we want the shelf to do is the plates that we have, we want to be able to store the plates so that way if we ever pull off on the side of the road, we can just grab a plate instead of having to dig through all the tubs. So that would be ideal, maybe a little bit more storage up here. So that's what we would like to build. And what I'm going to show you how I'm going to build this, I'm not going to build it with any kind of screws or nails or anything like that. It's going to be boards that are cut and glued together. So kind of like a slap together, but it actually is pretty strong. So measure your opening. So mine, I'm going to probably let it sit on this little trimmed ledge right here. So from there up, I got about, let's say about 16 and a half until I'm hitting something. And then this over, I don't know, let's see, about 12 3/4 and 12 3/4. So those are the dimensions I have. So let me show you the wood now. So this is the wood I chose. It's poplar, and you can get this at Lowe's, Home Depot. Now the reason I'm going with this is just, I like the grain on it. I just like the way it looks. It's pretty cool looking. I understand it may not be the best, but it's what I like this one. I'm gonna probably coat it with quite a few coats of lacquer, but we're realistically days away from leaving, so I just need to knock this out really quick. So this is the plate that we use. It's a paper plate, but it doesn't have all the plastic coatings, apparently. This is the smaller version. We don't currently have the bigger version, but the bigger version is a 10 inches round diameter, which this opening would be plenty for. So I'll just walk you through my rough idea here. I'm gonna take this piece. It's gonna go right about there. Gonna chop it down and then maybe put like a half circle on it, something like that. Maybe even follow this grain line, something like that. And then, I don't know, up here, some kind of cubbies or something like that. I like the idea of that, just so that we can put more stuff in there. We do have a bowl as well that we use for chili or oatmeal in the morning, but we currently don't have any of those, of course. So I'm not sure what to do with that exactly. So this is where I'm at. And all of my dimensions are about 12 and a half wide. It's kind of interesting. So if you butt those up together, just about right there. So that's going to be pretty handy. I got all of these corner clamps. I bought them all at a yard sale, and I haven't really found a lot of uses for them, but this will be perfect. So I'll just clamp on to the corners, keep everything nice and square. I'm going to cut this to 12 and a half so that it matches exactly that. And so I'm probably going to cut everything to its final dimension. So according to my initial measurements inside of the trailer, I can go to about 16 1/4 high. I feel like maybe I should just end it at 16. That way it's just nice and even. So I think we'll try that. And then from there, I don't know. So I'm just going to do that cut these. So this piece and these pieces need to be the same. Cut those, and then I don't know, I might want to put like a bit of a relief in this, just so it's not so just boxy and square. But I don't know, I don't really have enough time to get too fancy with it. And then probably whatever piece is left over, probably one of these pieces, I'll cut to fit into here or fit across there. So we'll see what I come up with there. right, so here's where we're at. I don't really have a long enough wood clamp, so I've just been doubling them up. Unscrew this. This gets a little bit tight if the glue's been on here. Trying to get it so I don't like, just kind of work it free-ish. Okay, so now that all that's off, go through with a razor blade, kind of get some of the thicker chunks off, just to make sure that there's less cleanup. When sanding, it's already going to be a massive pain. All right, so let me show you what I'm thinking here. So this is a smaller plate than what we normally have. So this plate is, it's probably considered a 9-inch, something like that. But the other plate we're doing is a 10-inch that we've normally done before. And if you look at this, so it should have just enough room to kind of bounce around in there. And if we go from the inside of this up to here, it's 15 inches. So probably going to make about a 5-inch shelf up here. Maybe I'll leave 10 and a quarter, just so that there's enough room if we ever get the 10-inch plates to put the 10-inch plates back in here. So I think what I'm going to do now is cut the piece out for this, which is going to be this piece, and I'll probably cut it to size. I'm not sure where I'm going to have it. It's probably going to be something like that. If I had to guess, something in that region. Just going to see what I want more, because I could cut it like over here and cut that part off, cut this part off, if I wanted to try to save, depending on the radius down I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Like I could just leave that part. So gonna see what I figure out here. All right, so I cut out the piece, and now I'm just using a compass. Kind of want it to start right about there. So I'm just using a compass to draw out the radius. So now just cut that out and start giving this piece maybe a little bit of style. So that should be pretty easy to cut out. All right, so we're moving quick. So this piece is in. I put like a bit of a 45 on the edge right here. I'm gonna put a bigger 45 on the outside. So now I'm onto the shelf piece. So I've already cut this. I'm gonna just glue this in and see how I can hold it. Maybe with just some more wood clamps this way. And then I'm gonna enclose it this way, and then maybe put some dividers kind of coming down at an angle this way. So we'll see what we want to store in there. Definitely got like coffees and stuff like that to store in there. Probably before I put the verticals, I'll do a 45 on all of this, because those verticals would probably get in the way of the router going by. So this is about where the shelf's going to be. And here is the plate. So the plates would be stacked up to there, and then you would just pull it out. That's the reason for this. So just got to put that in the perfect spot, and then we will glue it in. So yes, this is all built in one day, and we are ripping through it. So I glued this piece in, and I cut these pieces. So what my thought is here is that maybe we'll make a little divider there, and yes, I cut like basically a 45 on there, and then we're gonna probably glue that guy into there, and then it'll be something like that where you can put little whatever's in there, coffee, sugar packets, whatever, tea, whatever my wife wants realistically. Before we do this though, I left a little gap right here because I'm going to use this router to make a little cool angle right there, and then we will glue all that in. Boom, look at that, perfect. See that right there? It's perfect. All right, so I think that is pretty darn good progress for day one. So what I'm gonna let it do now is I'm gonna let it just cure up all that glue. So it should be able to fit this plate and another plate, and then while we have this plate, we could probably just throw it off to the side and stack other stuff in there. So I think she's gonna be pretty excited about this. So here's the top, got these pieces, dialed in this so that it is completely nice and flush. Got everything kind of just curing up for a bit, and doesn't quite need anything currently, so I'm just gonna let it cure up. I'm gonna do a lot more grinding and sanding and whatever, but I think we're just right on track to knock this completely out by tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next day. I'm just doing a bunch of sanding. I feel like this piece right here, this little end piece, needs a little bit of work. So I think I'm gonna hit it with the router, maybe go from here to here and stop, and then maybe flatten off these corners and just see how that looks. So I think I'm gonna do that now and just try to give it something so it doesn't look like just a board stuck to the outside of this. All right, got that part trimmed out. I think it looks good. I drilled holes up here. I guess another quick and dirty way would be to just fully mount this to the wall by gluing the whole back of it. But I'm gonna screw it in because my wife wants it screwed on. So just gotta clean it out a little bit more, and then we're gonna start spraying on some lacquer. We're here in my custom spray booth. So I could have got more of the glue off, but I'm imagining this in the trailer is gonna get a lot of wear on it. From me, the kids, my wife. Not to mention, we're leaving in mere days. So this thing needs to get done. I like the way all that grain pattern is popping out. Pretty cool. All right, well, here she is. So what I did was I sprayed on that coat of lacquer, and then it all kind of like started popping. So then I sanded it down again after the lacquer dried with 220, something around there. And then I sprayed it again, and then I sanded it again with like 600 grit. And then I sprayed it again until the can was empty pretty much. And I think it looks pretty good. So let's see how she fits. Look at that. Isn't that great? So I think the wife's gonna be pretty happy about that. So now I'm just gonna mark out the holes. I'm going to pre-drill so that we don't split anything. I'm gonna use this as just like a little, kind of just a little guide of where to drill the holes. So if you have a lot of scrap wood, you could probably make most of this with just your scrap wood. I mean, I'm using the screws that I found. These weren't specifically anything that I went out and hunted for. I was just like, yep, those look good. Let's just do that. Well, if you can move the whole trailer, it's usually a pretty good sign. I'm gonna let these sink in a little bit. Somewhere right in there. All right, that looks pretty good. Let me show you. So, right there. I think the whole thing looks pretty good. Let's see. Look at that. I'm not sure how many plates we can actually fit in there. We just kind of built it so that it would fit some plates. Oh, looks like a little too many. Look at that. Boom. So this will bang around, and it still has room for that bigger plate. Or we can shove it off to the side and then shove something down there. These little cubbies, we got these little, I mean, when you're on the road, you gotta live like a heathen. So you can fill these full of coffee packets. My wife has these little, it's like a 4 separated, dividered little thing. So she puts whatever she wants in there, but she labeled it. So cinnamon sugar, lime powder, cinnamon, and well, I guess 2 cinnamon sugars. So this fits in there almost perfectly. I'm just gonna leave it up to her, realistically, whatever she wants to put in here, she can put in here. But, so like I was saying before, there's no screws or anything used on this. It is all just glue, clamps, and just letting it set up. So I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty happy that I went with the wood grain that I went with. I'll just be happy to look at it. So yeah, that's pretty snazzy. So you should be able to do this too with any of your projects, and you could build it to exactly your specifications of what your family needs or what you specifically need. And realistically, I think if I started like early in the morning, I could probably knock this whole thing out in a day, because if you have the tools and it's just cut, snip, snip, glue, boom, done. So let me know if this helped you guys out. If there's any questions you have, leave them down in the comments. Everything I used, I'll put in the description like I always do. So if you click on any of that, it doesn't charge you anything extra, but it helps out the channel. But let me know what you guys think. That's another thing done right before the road trip. Subscribe. See you next time.